Imagine this. You're scraping by on the bare minimum, every penny counted, every bill a battle, and suddenly the rules that kept you locked out of help just got rewritten overnight. If you're watching this, staring at your bank account, wondering how you'll make it through the month, or if you've ever been told no because of your visa status, your age, or your self-employed hustle, then you need to stop everything and listen up. The UK's Department for Work and Pensions has dropped bombshell changes to universal credit for 2026 that could put real money back in your pocket, open doors that were slammed shut, and give families a fighting chance against the rising tide of costs. But here's the kicker. Most people don't even know about it yet. And if you miss the fine print, you could be left out in the cold. I'm talking life-altering shifts that aren't just tweaks. They're a lifeline for millions struggling in this economy. Welcome to UK Visa Update, where we dive deep into the rules that shape your life in Britain, from immigration hurdles to the financial safety nets that keep you afloat. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to claim what's yours. You need to hear this right now, because time is ticking. These changes kicked in quietly at the start of the year, and while politicians pat themselves on the back, families across the UK are still drowning in debt, unaware that help is finally within reach. If you're a single parent juggling kids in a 0-hour contract, or a skilled worker from abroad who's just been laid off, this isn't some distant policy update. It's your reality, and it's urgent. The cost of living crisis hasn't gone away. Groceries are up, rent is skyrocketing, energy bills are biting harder than ever. And in the midst of all that, the DWP has finally acknowledged that the old system was broken, leaving too many behind. But urgency? Oh, it's real. Applications are piling up, processing times are stretching, and if you don't act fast, you might miss out on backdated payments or get tangled in bureaucracy. I've seen it happen, people waiting weeks, months even, only to realize they qualified all along. Don't let that be you. We're talking about changes that could add hundreds to your monthly income, ease the pressure on your mental health, and prevent evictions or worse. So lean in, because we're about to unpack this step by step, and I'll arm you with everything you need to fight for your share. Let's rewind a bit to understand where this all comes from, because context is key. You can't appreciate the win without knowing the war. Universal credit was rolled out back in 2013 as this grand unification of benefits meant to simplify things: job seekers allowance, housing benefit, child tax credits, all rolled into one. Sounds good on paper, right? But in practice, it turned into a nightmare for so many. Delays in payments left people without food for weeks. The 5-week wait for the first payout? Devastating. Sanctions for missing appointments, even if you were ill or your bus broke down, could wipe out your entire month's support. And for immigrants, forget it. No recourse to public funds was stamped like a scarlet letter on visas, meaning if you came here to work or study, you were on your own, no matter how dire things got. Self-employed folks got hit hard too, with this arbitrary minimum income floor, assuming you earned a steady wage when your gigs dried up. Families with more than 2 kids, capped, no extra help for the third or fourth, pushing them deeper into poverty. Disabled claimants faced humiliating assessments that ignored invisible illnesses like depression or chronic fatigue. This system wasn't just flawed, it was cruel, designed in an era when austerity was the buzzword and welfare dependency was the scapegoat. Fast forward to now, post-pandemic, with inflation biting and inequality exposed like never before. Advocacy groups, charities like Citizens Advice, and even MPs from all sides hammered the government for reform. Reports piled up, child poverty rates soaring to over 4 million kids, food bank usage tripling, mental health crises linked directly to benefit stress. The background here is a decade of pain, protests in the streets of London and Manchester, petitions with millions of signatures, and finally a policy pivot in late 2025. The DWP, under pressure from a new administration focused on fairness, announced these 2026 updates as part of a broader welfare overhaul. It's not a revolution, but it's a crack in the armor, born from real human suffering that's been ignored too long. Now, the scale of this problem, It's massive, folks, and it touches every corner of the UK. We're not talking about a handful of cases. Universal credit supports over 6 million people right now. That's 1 in 10 adults. Add in the ripple effects, and it's families, communities, entire economies. In cities like Birmingham and Glasgow, where unemployment hovers higher, the old rules meant evictions spiked, with over 100,000 households at risk last year alone. For immigrants who make up a growing chunk of the workforce, nurses in the NHS, tech experts in Silicon Fen, delivery drivers keeping the gig economy alive, the no-recourse barrier forced thousands back home or into exploitative, under-the-table jobs. Self-employed numbers over 5 million in the UK, many in precarious sectors like arts, construction, or retail, where income swings wildly. The two-child limit, it affected 1.5 million kids, condemning them to grow up in homes where basics like school uniforms or heating were luxuries. Disabilities? 1 in 5 Brits lives with a long-term condition, yet assessments rejected 60% of claims initially, leading to appeals that dragged on for months. Scale-wise, this isn't niche, it's national. Poverty costs the economy billions in lost productivity, healthcare burdens, and social services. Charities report queues at food banks stretching blocks with working families, yes, people with jobs, relying on them. In rural areas like Cornwall or the Scottish Highlands, transport issues make assessments even harder, amplifying isolation. And globally, the UK's system was criticized by the UN for grave and systematic violations of disabled rights. These changes address a crisis that's been building, affecting not just claimants, but society as a whole. Higher crime, poorer health outcomes, kids falling behind in school. If you're watching from Leeds or Cardiff, know this. The problem's scale means these reforms could lift hundreds of thousands out of poverty, but only if we spread the word. The human impact, that's where it gets raw, and if you're nodding along because this hits home, you're not alone. Picture Sarah, a single mom in Liverpool with 3 kids, the youngest born after that 2017 cutoff. Under the old 2-child rule, she got no extra for little Tommy, meaning skimping on meals, turning off the heat in winter, watching her older ones wear hand-me-downs that barely fit. Stress? Through the roof. Anxiety attacks, sleepless nights, wondering if social services would step in, or take Raj, a skilled engineer from India, on a worker visa in Sheffield. His factory closed unexpectedly. Boom, redundant. Previously no benefits. He burned through savings, borrowed from family overseas, nearly lost his flat. His wife and daughter uprooted, schools disrupted, dreams shattered. Now, with the new access, he could have had 3 months breathing room, kept the family stable, found a new sponsor without panic. Self-employed, like freelance graphic designer Mia in Bristol, her income tanked during lockdown remnants, but the minimum floor assumed she earned minimum wage hours she couldn't muster. Result, debt collectors calling, mental health spiraling, creativity crushed. For disabled folks like John with PTSD from military service in Edinburgh, assessments felt like interrogations, dismissed as fit for work. He lost income, appealed for 6 months, ended up hospitalized from the strain. These aren't stats, they're stories of real pain. Kids going hungry, relationships breaking, suicides linked to benefit despair. I've heard from viewers, emails about choosing between medicine and food, visas holders sleeping in cars after job loss. The impact ripples, communities fray, trust in government erodes. But these changes, they humanize the system, offering dignity, a chance to rebuild without shame. Diving into the technical side, because knowledge is power, and you deserve the full picture without the jargon overload. Universal credit is calculated monthly based on your circumstances. Income, savings, housing costs, kids, disabilities. The standard allowance is the core. For 2026, singles under 25 get bumped to about 311, over 25 to 393. Couples, 489 if both young, 617 otherwise. Small hikes, but compounded with other elements like 300 plus per child or housing top-ups that can hit $1,000 in high-rent areas. The self-employed reform scraps the rigid 16-hour minimum wage assumption. Now it's averaged over cycles. If your Blackpool ice cream van booms in summer but flops in winter, they look at the year, not punish low months. Startups get a 12-month grace period, no floor at all. Perfect for building without fear. For visa holders, the no-recourse lift is narrow but crucial. Only if job loss isn't your fault, redundancy, not firing for misconduct, and during your 60-day sponsor search. Claim UC for up to 3 months, but apply within 14 days. Miss that, and it's denied. Tech-wise, it's tied to your BRP or e-visa status. DWP checks home office records automatically. Two-child limit exceptions now cover disability onset post-second child, kinship care, aunt raising niece to avoid foster, or domestic abuse hardship, proven via evidence like police reports or medical notes. Adds $287 per extra child monthly. Work capability, assessments via video, points system weighs mental health more, e.g. 15 points for inability to engage socially due to anxiety. If on enhanced PIP, auto LCWR, limited capability for work-related activity, adding $390 extra. Sanctions still lurk, miss a job coach meeting, lose 100% for weeks, but appeals are faster now. Technically, it's all managed via your online UC journal. Updates auto-apply, but you must report changes promptly or face overpayments clawback. The authorities' response, the DWP's take, has been a mix of fanfare and caution. They announced this in a press release buried on their site, touting it as supporting vulnerable groups while encouraging work. Ministers like the Work and Pensions Secretary hailed it as compassionate reform, pointing to budget allocations of $2 billion extra for UC. But critics, charities say it's not enough. The two-child limit still stands for most. Sanctions remain punitive. DWP's helpline is swamped, with wait times up to an hour, and they've ramped up fraud checks, meaning more scrutiny on claims. Home Office ties in for visa folks, ensuring no immigration breaches. Oversight? Parliamentary committees are watching, with reports due mid-year on implementation. But concerns linger. Will assessments really improve? Or is it lip service? DWP admits teething issues, like system glitches, delaying payments, and they're piloting AI for faster processing. But privacy worries abound. If you're ready to act, here's your step-by-step guidance. No fluff, just actionable steps. First, check eligibility. Log into gov.uk Universal Credit, use the eligibility checker tool. Input your age, income, kids, visa status. It'll flag if changes apply. Second, gather docs, NI number, bank statements, rent agreement, P45 if redundant, medical notes for disabilities. For visa holders, your BRP, redundancy letter, proof of job search. Third, apply online. Create a UC account if new, or update existing via journal. Answer honestly. Lies trigger fraud probes. Fourth, attend any required interviews, now virtual options. Fifth, monitor your journal daily for to-dos. Respond within deadlines. If self-employed, submit monthly earnings accurately. For two-child exceptions, upload evidence during claim. Expect first payment in 5 weeks, but request advance up to full amount, repaid over 24 months. Track everything. Screenshot confirmations. If things go wrong, escalation options are your backup. If rejected, request mandatory reconsideration within 1 month. Explain why. Add new evidence. 35% overturn here. Then appeal to tribunal. Free independent success rate over 70%. Use citizens' advice for free rep. For sanctions, challenge via journal. Hardship payments available if desperate. Visa issues, contact Home Office helpline or UKVI if sponsor search extends. Oversight concerns, report DWP errors to independent case examiner or MPs via right to them. Watchdogs like the Social Security Advisory Committee monitor systemic flaws, feed into consultations. If discrimination, e.g. disability mishandled, Equality Advisory Service helps. Wrapping this up, think about where we started, that shock of realizing the system's shifting, and you could be on the winning side. You've heard the stories, the scale, the human toll, and now you have the tools to change your narrative. Don't sit back. This is your moment to claim stability, to build a future without constant fear. If you're watching this feeling that spark of hope, act on it. Share this video. Tell your mates, because together we push for more. Thanks for tuning into UK Visa Update. Stay empowered, stay fighting, and remember, you're not alone in this. Until next time, take that first step. Your breakthrough awaits.